And welcome back to EVE Valkyrie Warzone pilots. In a previous video we had a look at some basic dogfighting tips to help new and skilled pilots alike in the Warzone. Today we are going to have a look at some different types of maneuvers that can be undertaken by a skilled pilot to gain an advantage on an enemy. Once again I have scoured different sources to identify those that will apply to EVE Valkyrie Warzone. Just a disclaimer before we start, these combat maneuvers are air-based combat, so keeping in mind that space combat is vastly different from air-based combat in regards to gravity and air resistance, a lot of things that take advantage of gravity can be emulated with brakes, but obviously not as effective if the enemy also brakes. Stuff which takes advantage of gravitational potential energy, then use a boost. I would like to say thanks to Quantum Delta on the Discord for helping me word this better than I would have originally. So with that in mind, basic rules and maneuvers can still apply. Also that each game has its own set of physics. If it's X-Wing, then it will be a point-to-point dogfight battle. If it's Elite Dangerous, then it will be more of a waltz with the enemy with their style Newtonian physics. Now these are just my own personal opinions of what I know can be performed in the battle space. If you have any others or believe that some are not so much warranted, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. So firstly, let's have an understanding of basic combat maneuvers. Basic fighter maneuvers are tactical movements performed by fighter craft during combat maneuvering, also called dogfighting, in order to gain a positional advantage over the opponent. Dogfighting combines the fundamentals of aerodynamic flight and the geometry of pursuit with the physics of managing the aircraft's energy to weight ratio, called its specific energy. Maneuvers are used to gain a better angular position in relation to the opponent. They can be offensive to help an attacker get behind an enemy, or defensive to help the defender evade an attacker's weapons. They can also be neutral, where both opponents strive for an offensive position, or disengagement maneuvers to help facilitate an escape. Awareness is often taught as the best tactical defense, removing the possibility of an attacker getting or remaining behind the pilot. Even with the speed, fighter is open from attack from the rear. So let's have a look at some points which I believe fall into place of the Warzone style of combat. So let's have a look at number 1, the Circle of Life. Yeah, I'm actually just kidding, even though most of the time you actually will end up in the spiral of who can get who first. The official number 1, the Combat Spread. The Combat Spread is the most basic maneuvers used prior to engagement. A pair of attacking aircraft will separate. The fighter with the lower altitude becomes the defender, whilst the wingman flies above in the perch position. The defender will attempt to lure the opponents into a good position to be attacked by the wingman. Number 2 is the Defensive Split. A pair of fighters encountering 1 or 2 attackers will often use a defensive split. The maneuver consists of both defenders making turns in opposite directions, forcing the attackers to follow only one craft. This allows the other defender to circle around and maneuver behind the attackers. Number 3 is the Sandwich. A sandwich maneuver begins with 2 defenders flying side by side. When an attacker maneuvers onto the tail of one aircraft, the defender will make a sharp turn away from the wingman. At the same time, the wingman turns in the same direction as the defender. When both fighters turn 90 degrees, they will come into a single file alignment with each other, sandwiching the attacker in the middle. Because the attacker is distracted by chasing the defender, this allows the wingman to maneuver onto the attacker's tail for an easy shot. Number 4 is braking. Spotting an attacker approaching from behind, the defender will usually brake. The maneuver consists of turning sharply across the attacker's flight path. The defender is exposed to the attacker's guns only for a brief instant. The maneuver works well because the slowing moving defender has a smaller turn radius and a bigger angular velocity. And a target with high crossing speed, where the bearing to the target is changing rapidly, is very difficult to shoot. This can help force the attacker to overshoot, which may not be true had the turn been made away from the attacker's flight path. Number 5 is the Corkscrew Avoid. The Corkscrew Avoid is a spiral or corkscrew maneuver that is used by fighter pilots to evade enemy fire while maintaining a particular heading. By rolling and pulling on the flight stick, it makes your craft extremely difficult to lead or hit. In the meantime, you are able to maintain your heading to get a better advantage. Number 6 is the split S. This maneuver consists of rolling inverted and pulling back on the stick, diving the craft into a half loop, which changes the craft's direction 180 degrees. It is most often used to set up a high side guns pass against a lower but fast moving opponent that is travelling in the opposite direction. Also, the split S is sometimes used as a disengagement tactic. And finally, the barrel roll attack. The counter to a break is often a displacement roll called a barrel roll attack. A barrel roll consists of performing a roll and a loop, completing both at the same time. The result is a heliacal roll around a straight flight path. The barrel roll attack uses a much tighter loop than the roll. Completing a full loop while only executing 3/4 of a roll, the result is a virtual 90-degree turn, using all 3 dimensions in a direction opposite of the roll. Rolling away from the defender's break, the attacker completes the roll with the aircraft's nose pointed in the direction of the defender's travel. Now, I have personally attempted each one of these in the Warzone, and I must say that they do work, but I will leave that up to you to decide whether it is something for you or not. Whether you're a novice in the Warzone or a hardcore veteran, each person has their own style of flying and their own specific maneuvers that they know work for them. Or in the case of some, then none of the above. That's what is good about the Warzone, you never know what to expect, keeping you on your toes for each and every battle you are a part of. And there we have it, 7 different types of maneuvers to hopefully keep you alive and longer in the Warzone. Once again, if I have missed any points in which you think are worthy mentioning, let me know in the comments below. If there is anything else you would like to see covered, then feel free to also let me know. You can find me in the comments below or on the EVE Valkyrie Discord. If you liked the video, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and some a little bit different. If you didn't like it, then feel free to hit that dislike button. That's what it's there for. Thank you all for watching. This is TJ signing off. Be excellent to each other, and I will see you in the next video. Fly safe, everybody.